Education is the basic right of any human. Education enlightens the soul and makes a human differentiate between wrong and right, justice and injustice. Education is not a requirement but instead a necessity of life. Women are the building blocks of society. They play a vital role in empowering every aspect of society and the country. A country is considered as well established and empowered only when the female population of the country is established, empowered, and safe. A woman is such an individual who has the knowledge and temperament to create lives with meaning. Here in GD Goenka University, we, the students of third year, sixth semester, has done a survey and took interviews on our topic, Women in Education. We have drawn a new perspective through the same.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have our head of the department, Professor Dr. Azim Khan B. Pathan, sir. So, welcome, sir. Today we are here to take an interview on women in education, the topic, and it is on the political science, feminism. So, please.
Thank you, Aryan. I congratulate first of all to the entire student teams and mentor of you all people. Especially, this is great opportunity for the students to learn and explore through practical exposure and going on the field and compiling indeed the important opinions and different views in understanding how exactly this feminism and feminist approach is working in the ground or on the ground in reality. So I once again congratulate to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, now we are moving forward to our very first question in today's interview, that is, how education in women can influence our society. What are your viewpoints, sir?
Absolutely. Well, education is very, very important, not only for the women. Uh, Indeed, it is also equally important for men. As far as concerning to women folk, when we are talking about education and how exactly it is going to influence, it is directly interlinked with the economy of the country. It is directly interlinked with that of development of family institution as well. It is also interlinked with coming generation as well. So that much importance and significance is there if women folk is educated, not only in any particular the country, not only in any particular region, but all over the world. If women they are more educated, absolutely their contribution and their role will motivate to the coming generations as well. Besides this, if I have to tell, as far as concerning to Indian context and Indian territory, the role of women and more specifically role of education, especially for the women, is very important and pivotal. Because if women is getting educated, it has significance and impact not only on the economy of that particular the family or that particular family institution, but at the same time she will also have the opportunity in contributing more specifically in different employment, different businesses. And now we can also see that the woman CEO, not only that woman director, not only that we can see that vice chancellors, women they are holding the position. So this is becoming possible just because of the education, and that much significance and influence education is having in this women and women empowerment as well.
So, my next question to you is, why do you think there are more women as teachers in school and in institutions, but when we go to the higher education sector or the universities or the colleges, we see there are very less number of women professors. So why the ratio of, why the ratio of this is so seen so drastically changed in terms of women in the field of education? What are your viewpoints?
Right. A very good question. Let me tell you, put my viewpoint on this particular aspect. As far as concerning to elementary education or school education, when we are talking about, now trend is changing.
Absolutely.
Now trend is changing. If you can see, even in education, higher education now, women folk, or more specifically, we can say girls, or we can say, the women folk is reaching. No doubt, presently, as far as concerning to India, in elementary education, or more specifically, school education, women are more. But in higher education or university education, this particular number is quite low. But this process, if you will see down the line, 1950 onward, right? The very first 5-year plan, and then education
Absolutely.
policy. Work started, but work was very slow as far as concerning to trend setting. Besides this, some or the other way, social mindset was also responsible behind this, because in school education, elementary education, the number of women was little more. But in higher education or university education, if you'll see 1990s or after 2010 onward, we can see the data generally it is showing that now trend it is getting changed as well, where based on higher education, based on we can say undergraduate, postgraduate degree, qualifying these all degrees, now women folks they are also reaching for professorship in different disciplines, right from engineering to law, science. Besides that, social science, they are reaching, they are performing absolutely wonderfully, at par with we can say male members of the society. They are wonderfully not only contributing at we can say household activities, but at the same time they are also contributing in education sector. But absolutely you are right that the numbers of the women in higher education it is quite low, but now trend is changing.
Absolutely. So with this, I move to my next question, which is: are institutions and workplaces ready for embracing the diversity in their work area?
I find absolutely diversity, that is one of the important key area for any institution or any workplace, not only from legal compliances, but at the same time social compliances as well. Now trend is changing, that we are also seeing that not only we can say the third gender that is being absorbed in different institution, but at the same time even male member, woman member, besides that physically challenged people, they are also coming in different institutions. So that kind of diversity we can also find out not only in the governmental sector or educational institution, but we can also see now in private organizations as well. Now like Tata institution, now besides that there are many corporate houses as well. They are also trying to imbibe this diversity, not only women member or male member as an employee, but physically challenged people as well. Besides that third gender as well, that is being absorbed in the employment. So I find that very much positive ambience and positive response, not only in a particular state, but all over the country we can find out.
So I would like to ask a adjoining question to this. As we have seen the number of deans, or like talking about women, we have seen there are not much HODs or deans of the school. Talking about our own university, GD Goenka University, we can see there are only two women dean as per my knowledge. And those two deans are also from the School of Humanities or the UID, who are those schools are considered like a feminine school, not much of a gender equal or masculine school. So why this thing is there in the GD Goenka University, according to you? Why there are not much more women deans of schools, HODs? Why don't we have a woman VC? Why? Because as per my knowledge, I don't know, was there a woman VC in this university or not? So, why this trend has been continuing in our own university?
Yeah, to be more precise on this particular aspect, let me tell you, this is with reference to a kind of one perception, right? Because this is ultimately a process,
Absolutely.
right? This is ultimately a kind of process, right? And there is no differentiation based on any kind of gender, right, in the process, right? We cannot differentiate that only women member are coming on the this headship position or at the helm of the affair, why only male member as a vice chancellor or head of the department, why only male member. This is not based on any kind of differentiation, first of all, based on the
Yes.
gender. This is ultimately part and parcel of the process where the many applications comes for a professorship. Because see, this is the process as far as concerning to not only this particular university, for other universities as well. If 50 applications will come for professorship, right? If out of that the 5 members will be female members, based on the interview selection patterns, if based on that particular their performance they are being selected. If male members are being selected, that is based on that particular process, that interview process, right? And then out of this particular professors or teachers, because these all positions like heads or head of the department, these all are additional responsibility.
Absolutely.
Ultimately primary responsibility is teaching, teachers, and out of those teaching and teachers, someone has to take responsibility as a head or as a dean or even you can say as a vice chancellor, right?
Yes.
So this comes through the process. As far as concerning to our university or our GD Goenka University, if you are talking about, this is part and parcel of the process. All professors, they are working, right? All teachers, they are working. Out of them, someone is designated as a head of the department or as a based on their performance or their leadership position, as a dean of that particular department. So first primary responsibility in higher education or in any university is that teachers, professors, and out of them these additional responsibility as are handed over to a particular the professor or teachers. So this is part and parcel of the process.
Absolutely, sir. So my next question is, what are the impact of COVID-19 on education, especially for women in India?
Yeah, well, this is not only confined, and it was not exactly confined to the women folks only, because both gender or all genders, including transgender, they got affected because of this COVID-19. But as far as concerning to, if I have to say about women folk, and especially girl children, right? We can see that they were also equally affected because of this COVID-19, right? Because due to this COVID-19, not only male members or male student they got affected, but at the same time girl children they were also affected because of this COVID-19. So there is no differentiation
Yes, sir.
in impact which they sustained. But now the responsibility is there post COVID-19 of educational institutions or primary educational institutions, that a kind of remedial clinical, education that has to be provided to bridging the gap which was ultimately created due to this, COVID-19. Because COVID-19 has deprived, we can say, to remote places students, girl students equally boy students as well, right? So we cannot see that there is differentiation, because equally male student and female student, they got affected due to this COVID-19. Their education, it was suffering, and especially remote places, rural areas, they were more and mostly affected due to this COVID-19 period, because they were not having sufficient technology with them. They were not having sufficient we can say connectivity with them. They could not join these online classes, right? And most of the remote places of the country could not join indeed these online classes, which was some or the other way alternative, which was available to we can say urban students, either male student or female student. It was available for them. At least they could sustain, they could get certain instructions. That could not happen for remote places and those rural cities and town students. So we cannot make that differentiation. Equally female students, male student, they got affected due to this COVID-19 period.
Absolutely, sir. So, talking about the students or the female students, I would like to ask another question. Is early marriage a restraint on women's education?
If I have to answer this particular question, definitely that becomes, as far as concerning to, Indian context as well. Because early marriage, then, comes this working on these family institutions, and, more responsibility, automatically it is shoulder upon, female, right? And in that process, very basic object of education, taking degree, taking better education, it get automatically affected. And as far as concerning to a larger sections and larger segment of our Indian continent, where religions, religious ethos, cultures, it also works more. If you have to see and understand the diversity of our country, India, a lot of different religions are also there, different religions, and that bent of mind is there, and which also works that towards getting married to the female children at early ages. That has tremendous impact on the education, because of early marriages, the female folk, they cannot go further for their education, they cannot continue their education, and it has tremendous impact not only on their education, for economy of the country as well, because their contribution, if they are getting educated, they are getting employment, they are going in the job, that particular important ways is some or the other way it is stopped. So that is affecting not only for the country, for economy, for the GDP, but at the same time it is also affecting the family development and family economy as well. So definitely early marriages, that becomes some or the other way hurdle in the women's development, empowerment, and their role in economy.
Yes. So my next question to you is, do you think women are at par with men with regard to leadership positions?
Why not? Who is saying? Who is saying there is some or the other way, or there is some other possibility? We are saying, and everyone is saying, that they are also equally, important and equally worthy. We can see on the topmost position around 1000 plus universities, there are many women as a vice chancellor working. Very effectively they are working. There are many directors in the companies, they are working, right? We have our finance minister as well working, right?
Absolutely.
So we can see that this particular aspects, and they deserve equally, right? They deserve equally.
So, but again, there's a counter question to what you just said. Sir, mm, talking about the NLUs, so we can see out of 29 NLUs, there are only two NLUs where the woman is a vice chancellor. So again, there are 27 NLUs in our nation. In those NLUs or in those institutions, there are male members at the position of vice chancellor. It is not that women are not capable of being there, but then again, the question arises, why? If everyone is agreeing to what just you said, and if the women are also capable, then why 27 NLUs are still holding up male VCs? Why not females?
So see here, let me tell you why 27 or 29th NLUs, 29 NLU we are talking about,
Yes, sir.
why we are not talking about 1000 and odd universities, right?
Yes, sir.
There are 1000 and odd universities where we can see that in a larger numbers, right? That women vice chancellors are there, right?
Yes.
In NLUs. Then besides that, I am telling you again, I am telling, again I am repeating this particular aspect, that this is part and parcel of the process, right? Where in all these 29th NLUs or 29 NLUs, where selection committee takes place, where applications comes.
Yes, sir.
Now in that applications, if there is equal number, 50-50, definitely they will be having chances, right? If applications will be there in that particular process, if there is no application from the male or female member, how automatically that selection
Absolutely.
committee will select the female member as a vice chancellor? That is again the question mark. So again I am bringing you back
Yes.
this particular aspect. This is part and parcel of the process.
Process.
If out of 27 NLU, remaining NLU, in selection committee or selection panel, if no application received by the selection panel from the woman member, then how come that selection committee or that interview board, they will select woman member as a vice chancellor?
Absolutely.
Because I heard based on the data in many NLUs when national law schools, that female members application is not there in the selection committee. How come then vice chancellor will be there from women folk? That is again the question mark.
Absolutely.
So if their participation will be there for that particular position, definitely they will, based on their potential, their competency, they will be chosen as a vice chancellor.
So my next question to you is gender neutral or gender specified laws, like which kind of or which set of law is much more relevant and moreover needed in today's India?
Yeah. See, now society is totally changing. Social transformation is there. Now this gender, third gender, transgender, this particular perspective as well we are seeing continuously. The recent development we have seen, that transgender, they are also having human rights. They also possess human right. This new version it has come. Accordingly, social mindset it is also getting changed, right? So in this entire contemporary the scenario, that gender neutral law, that is the demand of the time. Because gender neutral law, if it will be there, then definitely without any kind of bias, a proper justice administration can happen. Proper, we can say, the share that can be obtained by different genders, right? There are many laws in the countries as well, which we can see that it is being called, those laws are gender bias laws, right? Which does not talk or which does not include, inclusivity. It does not talk about, diversity. It does not, recognize the other genders, including transgenders' rights. So to tackle with these particular, important issues which are coming nowadays, we have to have a different set of legislations where we can have many amendments in the legislations as well, and gender neutral law can be brought, because we can see that based on the data as well, where more and more protection through legislations and through different sets of rules and regulations were provided to the women folks, right from we can say domestic protection of domestic violence, from domestic violence. Besides that, we have specific provisions in criminal laws as well, right, for protection of women, right. There are many legislations which are protecting to the women folk, but at the same time we are also seeing that most of the time those legislations are protecting to the women. Sometimes those legislations are creating problems for other genders as well. But based on perception of gender, it is happening. So law should be gender neutral so that it can deal equally to any diverse gender. So that can only solve many problems with which we are confronting presently.
Okay, so my next question to you is, does unequal pay for equal work leads to reduction of number of women or female after attaining education, like leads to the decrease of the number of women or female in education?
Let me answer this particular aspect in a different way. First of all, let me tell you that in any organization, whether private organizations or governmental organization, it is a kind of human right issue, and it is recognized human right, and it has been institutionalized through legal norms as well, that for equal work equal pay should be there, right. And accordingly, different institutions, governmental institutions, private organizations, they have to work upon, right. If something unequal pay is happening based on the equal work, that is not legally acceptable. That is not as per the legal compliances as well. That is not as per the human rights perspective as well. And we have very much in place our National Human Rights Commission, our State Human Rights Commission, to tackle with these kinds of issues, right?
So thank you so much. My last question to you is, recently we witnessed a hijab issue in the country. Sir, what is your perception or what is your take on that issue? And do you think that after the hijab issue, especially in the Muslim community, the women are affected, and there has been a decrease in the education, or like education with aspect to women, especially in the Muslim community? What is your
No,
perception?
I don't think so. There is, any reduction in the number of, Muslim women or Muslim girls as far as concerning to, taking education, especially primary education or university education. Because as far as concerning to, our contemporary time, where we are saying that, and even the Supreme Court of India and other part of the world as well, they are continuously saying, and United Nations organization, they are continuously saying, as far as concerning to right to education. Here, one important thing as far as concerning to this contemporary time and in the context of hijab issue, let me apprise that Supreme Court of India had already clarified that as far as concerning to university education, as far as concerning to higher education, ultimately hijab or this particular covering the face as a part and parcel of culture or as a part and parcel of religion, that is also more close to freedom of expression. So our apex court or our Supreme Court of India has already clarified that should not become the barrier for the education, for taking education. or hijab or covering face, that should not become, any institutional requirement as well, because that is matter, and that is ultimately matter of free expression, right? This is one important point. Second important point, as far as concerning to hijab issue, when it had come, in this Karnataka High Court, and Karnataka High Court had dealt this in the context of, purely institutional, mandate, and institutions to have, common uniform. They had mandated that they should wear a particular uniform. For as far as concerning to school education, that can be made mandate in a primary education, as per the, having a proper uniform, or proper, we can say wearing a one uniform. But when question comes with, higher education or university education, then automatically these entire, norms that clash with, free speech or freedom of expression as well, because there is ultimately freedom of expression that has to be also properly balanced with educational rights. So in that context, I see that this hijab, or this, wearing, face mask, or, wearing a particular hijab, that is purely a kind of, not only a part and parcel of a particular culture, but at the same time that is also part and parcel of freedom of speech and expression. And unless and until it is not, hurting in higher education, that also cannot be made mandate, right, for wearing a particular, dress, right?
Absolutely.
So absolutely, this particular, aspect is already clarified from apex court of the country, and already this message has gone all over the country. So I don't find that there is, Muslim community student or girl student, their, participation is less now in education. Their participation indeed is more in education now.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come to the end of the interview. It was great talking
Thank
to
you,
you, sir.
thank you so
Thanks
much.
sir.
Thank you so much for this particular interview.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ritvik Mohan. Today we have with us Assistant Professor Miss Hina Praveen ma'am. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Hina and I'm an assistant professor of law in GD Goenka University. I have 4 years of teaching experience. I have done my bachelor's from Aligarh Muslim University and my master's in international law from NUJS Kolkata, which is one of the most reputed and esteemed university of India. Should
Thank
we
you,
move
ma'am.
forward?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please go ahead.
For my first question is how education in women can influence our society.
Alright, you might have heard that a child's first school is his or her mother. So, if a particular woman that we are talking about in a society is educated, she can educate the coming 7 generations. If a woman is educated, the entire family has a very good family planning, education, and all sort of far-fetched ideas that she can get for a family. A woman's education in the society is not only for her family, she can educate the entire society for that matter. Let's say, for example, I am working as a woman, I have a role as a mother, I have a role as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter. I can influence men around me, I can influence women around me, I can educate more women of all the aspects of life from all the societies to get educated in that perspective. How education is helping us out? It is actually taking us out from the era of darkness. Please move forward.
Thank you, ma'am. My second question to you is why do you think there is less women in leadership positions?
Starting from the very ancient times, women has been objectified for quite a long time. We have come across a long journey where we have finally attained a certain sort of position in the society. We were oppressed not only by the men of the society, but by the religion, by practices, by custom, by certain sort of cultures in the name of religion. So we have been oppressed in the society in the name of what not, everything that society can name for. Now, coming to the question, why exactly women are not in leadership roles? Women are not in leadership role because from a previous, from the ancient time, they have been always kept at the backward. They have never been brought in the front. But we are living in a transitional phase. Time is changing, position is changing, be it education, be it politics, any socialist, be it educational sector, women are taking good positions in all the sectors. But we are still not at par with that of men. Because I am a working woman, I compete every single day. Every single day I have my own battle. Battle in terms of education, battle in terms of equal pay for equal work, battle in terms of equal position in the society, be it given a position to be to be answered, or given an opportunity to be presented before the society. So we are in a transitional phase. We cannot say that women even now are in a very deplorable condition. No, we have come across a long way. We have progressed. Imagine yourself 50 years back. Were we in this particular situation that we are now, right now? No. We are increasing in number. We are increasing our position in the education, politics, and everywhere. Even we are talking about leadership role. Yes, we are few in number, but we are not limited in number. We are emerging. We are in a transitional phase that I'm repeating all over again. We are emerging, and there will be a time when we will be competing shoulder to shoulder with that of men.
Thank you, ma'am. My next question to you is, why do you think there are more women as teachers in school and institutions, but when we go in higher institutions such as universities, the ratio of women decreases?
Alright, we both, I think when we talk about women working in school are higher in number and not in higher education system like institution, universities for that matter. So I'll give an example. A woman doing B.Ed is much more comfortable than women pursuing higher education and then joining a university. That's one fact. But another fact is, I'm working in GD Goenka. You know what are the numbers of women? Women are outnumbering the male faculties in our department. So we cannot say that absolutely or in a very hard and fast rule that no doubt. I agree to his point that the number of women in school is higher, no doubt about it. But why? What are the factors influencing this particular fact? The factors influencing that women can take care of their child in that particular school where she is working. She do not need to go to some other place in order to take care of her family, and she has to manage both work as well as there is an unspoken rule in the society that a woman is under an obligation to manage family and work and rest all the responsibilities coming attached to the word family. Alright. So women who are doing B.Ed is an easier course as compared to MBA or masters in any other course. So you'll find now that particular number that we're talking about, we should be happy about it. We have come a long way. That's what we're talking about. See? So 50 years back, the number we have in school right now was not even 10%. But we have come across this particular number. And then I took an example of our own school of law, where women has outnumbered the male faculties. There are very few male faculties and there are a lot of female faculties. And not only in this department, but talking about the department, what do we have? SOMAS, the medical department. They have more female faculties as compared to the male faculties. So we are growing. We are still living in a transitional phase where we are growing, and I think if this continues, after this particular generation, I don't think we will be any more talking about how oppressed women are in the society, because we are actually evolving. Alright?
Thank you, ma'am. My next question to you is, what are the impacts of COVID-19 on education, especially for women in India?
Alright, COVID-19 brought us in a very unimagined situation. We couldn't have anticipated what we actually went through. I mean, personally, I was actually backed out because I was sitting at home, no work, no education, because the kind of mental environment that was created around us in the society by the news. I mean, the news readers, by the newspapers. I was under a mental agony that I was not able to progress. It created certain situation where I was stagnant in my life. And the most I fear in my life is stagnancy. If in case a particular person, be it a man, be it a woman, is stagnant, it is frustrating. So for many people, COVID-19 was a bliss. For those people who are working from home, is able to spend time with the family, as well as they are able to work. But there are very few people, there are other set of people who used to go out and work. They have now to be caged within the four walls of the house, and they are feeling frustrated. They are not able to be very productive. So that's what, it's not only about the women in the society in COVID-19. Now that's the general scenario, the middle class families or the elite class families. But then there is other class of the society which is called as unorganized sector. In unorganized sector, there are majority of women who are playing a role of maid, right? Maid are, they fall in the category of unorganized sector. After the outbreak of pandemic, this particular portion of the society got affected very badly. So we do not expect a male maid in the house, right? So a very large chunk of unorganized sector were impacted. There was a hit on their financial condition, and the entire family was impacted. Why? Because that particular woman, who is the bread earner of the family, is not able to feed the family. First, second, she is not able to educate the family, her kids. Third, she is not able to give that kind of lifestyle which the family deserves. There are other factors attached to it, but COVID-19 actually impacted the most the unorganized society of the unorganized sector of the society. So that is very, very important. Be it the woman or the man, everybody, children, adults, old age people, everybody was impacted because of outbreak of the pandemic. All right.
Thank you, ma'am. My next question to you is: are institutions and workplace ready for embracing diversity?
In my previous question also, I've answered that we women have outnumbered. Diversity only in the sense of gender, sex, or we are talking about cultural diversity also. Now, since after getting educated so much, after living into the diverse places of India, I have been to Jharkhand, I've been to UP, I've been to all the places of South India, I've been to all the Northeast places also. The most common thing that I found was cultural diversity. So I think in every sense we are actually embracing this diversity. Talk about your class, how many girl students are there? Though according to me, I think the ratio is not that proper or that equal, but yet it's all about the evolving process that we are in. It will gradually change, and yes, not in the complete sense, but yes, we are embracing the cultural diversity. We are embracing the diversity that has been brought by genders or sexes. For example, we are talking about the diversity. In the past 10 years, 20 years back, for example, we did not hear of LGBT community. But after all of a sudden, after a judgment, we get to know that there is a separate community who are sexualizing themselves in a very different manner. Their gender roles are different. So that's the thing, we are actually incorporating it. The biggest debate in Supreme Court right now is, are we able to legalize same-sex marriage? Now, we have come across a long way to come to this particular question. Why Supreme Court of India is coming to this question? We are coming to this question because in the past 10-12 years, we have witnessed a change, a shift in the society. We are recognizing a different set of people who are a part of our own society. So yes, we are to an extent keeping into consideration that we are from Indian culture, we are rigid and we are very conservative in nature. But after this particular generation, the youth which is coming will definitely embrace the diversity that the nature is expecting us to do.
Thank you, ma'am. My next question to you is early marriage a restriction on women's education?
I think yes. It would. I won't take a minute, or I will not be ashamed to say that there's some of the states where early marriages are very common. Top being the Rajasthan, top being Haryana, look at the literacy rate in these places. It's very poor, and I think the government, the respective government, the state governments are still working on it. They're trying hard, but you cannot. Even the government cannot do that unless and until the people themselves embrace that kind of change which is required. They tend to dominate women. They have a very strong culture of dowry. They have a very strong culture of child marriages, and they have the highest number of female feticide also. It's very common. In the name of honor, they're killing people, be it a woman, be it a man. So there are few parts of India which are still struggling with to mitigate child marriage or dowry or some other evil practices in the society. So we are still doing it, but again I cannot say that child marriage is the only way. By prohibiting child marriage, it is the only way we can enhance the quality of the society, or we can improvise education in women. No, since it is not the only factor which is affecting education in women, it will not be the only factor which can mitigate what exactly are we anticipating.
Thank you, ma'am. My next question to you is: do you face any kinds of challenges as a woman while navigating your career?
Alright, I would be very, very honest about it. I have faced a lot of challenge. Not only as a woman, but as a Muslim woman too. I have faced not only gender discrimination, but religious discrimination too. And I have come really far, and I'm very proud of myself. And I think many of the women are actually facing it. But it's fine. It's absolutely fine. The humans have been placed in this society by nature. We are governed by certain natural phenomena. Alright. So even if I have faced certain sort of discrimination, gender discrimination or religious discrimination, I think there will be a time when people will be understanding, okay, these people, this particular section of the society are a part of society, and they should be given equal opportunity. As a woman, I have been through a lot. I have faced a lot of discrimination, gender discrimination. So, for example, I'll give you an example. This is a very funny part of it. I would not name the institution. That was the first part of my career. I joined an institution in academics. There was a director, dean. She was a lady. See how lady, actually works, how she diminishes the value in her own eyes, the value of another woman. She questioned me. The first question that you can ask another woman is, how is your life going? How's your career going? What are your plans? What is your family doing? And so many things you have to ask, right? But the first question, the first remark she gave, oh, you are a Muslim? And that to a girl, you have come so far. How did your family let you out? This was a kind of remark. And she was a retired judge, by the way. Let's not talk about education for that matter. Let's not talk about that education is the factor why this discrimination is in the society. She said, you're a woman. How did your parents educate you so much? And they allowed you to come out. And you know what my reply was? See, I am a very cool person. I'm an amazingly cool person, but obviously everybody has a saturation point. I said, alright, I am one hell of a woman, and there is a lot coming behind me. This is just a start. And not only Muslim women, or not only Hindu women, all the women for that matter. You might be making history, but there's a lot to come to be written in the history. Alright. So there have been incidences. There have been incidences where men have actually dominated us, that you don't speak in front of them. We will be speaking in front of them. There will be a proper presentation because of, because we are men. This have been said to us outrightly, without any sense of, understanding why exactly are they doing this. I mean, for that matter, I believe I am much better than many of what people claim that they are very good at. No, you cannot do that. And I'm not flaunting on that. That's a fact. But you cannot just diminish our value because we are women. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. My next question to you is: as a woman, what do you think why we are lagging behind in providing equal opportunity for women in education? How can we address them?
See, our country is an agro-based country. Okay? 70%, 60% of the people are dependent on agriculture. When we talk about agriculture, we talk about farmers. When we talk about farmers, we talk about that portion of the society who are marginalized, right? They are marginalized section of the society. They are not very well off. They are not in a very good financial condition. So the reason why we are not able to progress that much, or what is the kind of obstacle that we are facing, is the financial condition. Even if you go and talk to a farmer and if you ask what do you want your kids to be, they'll say I want my kids to be an IPS officer. I want my kid to be a faculty or a teacher for that matter. I want my kid to be an engineer. And it's a fact. If you ask a farmer, they will never say that I want my kid to be a farmer. Why? Because they have seen the kind of economic burden, they have been through the financial distress, and they do not want their kids to go through the same. So that's the one portion. Our country, a major part of our society are marginalized section of the society. Marginalized not only on one ground, it's not only economic, it's not only about the finance. I talk to you about certain religious restraints also. I am myself belonging to a very conservative Muslim family, but my father has broken all the shackles of the society and have educated all my siblings are highly educated. But then at the same time, my father is having two brothers. Out of one, his kids did not study at all. They're not even 10th pass. So you cannot say, we cannot have a straight jacket formula where we can say, okay, the financial problems are actually an obstacle in educating the women. No, they're religious restraint also. People do not. My father came out of the village. He started working in the city. He has taken us out from that village. He got us educated. The kind of comment he used to get. Oh, all right. So you are educating your daughters. See that you have your reputation in the society. You're letting your daughter out of the city. They might malign your reputation. These were the kind of incidents. These were the kind of comments that he used to get. But then, breaking all the shackles, he had actually broken the taboo. He has came out of everything that might have impacted. Now all my siblings, all my own siblings I'm talking, they're highly educated. They're highly educated. And this is what is needed, one single step to break the taboo, to break the shackles of the society, which society has created, not nature, not God, not religion for that matter. So this is something that we need to understand. So there are different factors. Every place has a different thing. In certain places, we were talking about Rajasthan and Haryana, education is required. But if you look into the elite class places, the city, metro cities, even in certain cases, the elite class people are not allowing their kids to go out or to interact or to get educated that much. So we cannot have a very single one theory which will be applicable on all the situations. A different situation. It have to be evaluated differently.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Alright, thank you so much.
Good morning everyone, my name is Kushal Vajpayee and today we have Associate Professor Dr. Afkar Ahmed sir. So please introduce yourself.
My name is Dr. Afkar Ahmed. I am Associate Professor at the School of Law, GT Goenka University, Haryana, and I am teaching since 2007. And my interest area is criminal law and family law.
Sir, our first question is how education in women can influence our society?
The education of women is very, very important in every society. I'm not talking about the Indian society. Because if any female starts a study in a family, the entire family educates. How? Suppose that a woman whose marriage has taken place on a particular time. So when she is graduate, her children in the latter point of time is going to be educated by her, because the first school is the motherland. And after that, her husband will be busy in business or any other activities, maybe in job. So obviously that so far as the taking care of the child is concerned will take place by that particular female. And if she is educated, so not only in the field of education, but like this culture and civilization, all aspects, it is going to be affected. Because totally caring of the children is in the shoulder of that particular female. And either the worldly education or religious education or mannerism, in all aspects, the child is going to be educated, is going to be aware, and the direct influences of women are that particularly in the form of mother, or maybe in the form of sister also, or maybe in the form of grandmother. So in every aspect, if a particular woman studies or being educated, the entire family is going to be educated. And number of scholars like Mahatma Gandhi also said in his particular quotation that if a female is going to be educated, the entire family, and obviously number of family makes a society, and number of society makes the entire nation. So obviously the entire nation is going to be educated, and the education determines the all aspects, especially the culture, the civilization of a particular country. So definitely it is very, very important.
So our next question is early marriage is restraint on women education?
Definitely, actually, it is very much related to the science that if a particular girl is going to be married in the age of 10 or 12 years, she is not physically fit or mentally ready to go into the relationship of marriage. And definitely, marriage has a wide concept, which is not only confined to the physical relationship, but it is also related to the psychological relationship, social aspects, several aspects are involved. And when early marriage will take place, she will be mother in a very early age. She is not capable, but she will be the mother. So definitely on the health of the mother, on the health of the child is going to be affected. And definitely she will have to take more care. So her entire time and concentration will be on herself and her child, how she is going to be educated. It is a very common thing. So when she is not physically fit, how she will educate to herself as well as to the latter point of time to the child. Because a healthy mind is very, very important, and it is very common proverb that health is wealth, and if she is not healthy, and health does not mean the physical and mentally, that is very important. When she is not mentally ready, how she will nurture the child, how she will take care of herself, so definitely it will hamper her education. There is no doubt on that.
So our last question is, after hijab incident, do you think there is a decrease in number of women in education, especially in community of Muslims?
To some extent it has happened. Actually there is a misconception. The term hijab is an Arabic word, and there is a term of parda. So actually this burqa, you have seen certain Muslim women wear that burqa. It is not the part of the religion. The religion is talking about hijab. That means you will have to live in such a way that you should look like a decent woman. Even a Muslim woman can wear this jeans, shirt or t-shirt, there is no problem. But she should be look a decent. And what will be called decent? That means she should look a decent woman, which is not going to impact so far as her daily routine of life is concerned. So any Muslim, even a Hindu, you will find that they are wearing the veil, they are keeping they are living in a particular way. So the recent incident which has taken place on matter is subjected before the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and the split decision has come now. The matter has been deferred to the larger bench. So we should wait for the decision of the Honorable Supreme Court. But so far as the Islamic perspective is concerned, no doubt Islam says about the hijab. But in what way it is going to be presented, it is entirely a different picture. It says, the religion says that you should look decent and you should look good. You should not look like an absurd person, an idiot person. Even in any person, even a Hindu or a Christian, if you will wear such type of dress, suppose that a student comes in this college, I will say this is not the proper way. Every student have their own culture, but a person cannot compare. The incident took place, the certain groups of people, no one can compare what you will wear. Attire, your eating habits is your choice. I cannot compare. If you will look, you will come in a very different way, then it can be objected. Otherwise, you will wear the white clothes, you will wear black, it is your choice. What you will eat, it is your choice. I cannot restrict you. So whatever the incident has taken entirely, it is very absurd, very objectionable. So hijab is, the concept of hijab is there, but the concept of burqa in the orthodox form is also not there. But whatever you will wear, again I repeat, the attire, unlike your eating habits, is your personal choice. No one can compare it. So if you will compare on certain sections of the Muslim community, because they are not well educated, so in certain lower strata the people is going to be affected. The people will say, oh, if you will go to the school, certain groups of the people will create a problem for you. You should study in the home or you should not study. This will happen. And we should strongly condemn such type of incident. To come in a particular school dress or particular dress is a different story. But at least even by wearing a particular way, she is studying, we should respect, we should promote, we should encourage. We should not discourage by why you are wearing like that. So definitely if such incident will increase or it will happen in future, it will hamper so far as the condition of the public is concerned. Fine?
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself Mahija Ballar. Today I am with Assistant Professor Miss Priyanka Nair ma'am. Ma'am, kindly introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Priyanka Nair and I'm working as an assistant professor at GD Goenka University. I've been working here for the last 1 year now.
So, ma'am, my first question to you is that we are living in a patriarchal society where women are considered to be considered in the private sphere and men is for public sphere. But nowadays we have, from past 30 to 40 years, we have seen that there is a gradual increase in women indulging in public sphere also and taking jobs outside the private sector. But there is still an inequality because women are taking fields which are more feminine in nature, like they become teachers or lecturers. But we have seen that there is less women in engineering field, like as a student or as a lecturer. So why do you think this happened?
First of all, I don't believe that women would rather choose a feminine industry these days, because law was something, being a lawyer was something which was considered to be a a masculine profession, a patriarchal profession. But nowadays, even if you look at your class itself, there are more women than men as compared to the previous, 5th years or the 4th years, wherein there are more men. But then in today's society, I believe that women do share responsibilities also. Women do hold authoritative positions as well, and it's not that women are not going to decorate the positions of which would have been decorated by men otherwise. It is just that they, from the kind of the family that they belong to, for example, even my family, most of my relatives believe that when I wanted to take up law, because my family is a family of civil servants and doctors and people who are into government professions basically, and their only notion was you should not get into law because this is not something somebody from our family would do, who would go to courts and argue. This is not something that which would actually basically जो आपको शोभा देती है. This is not something that which would actually add a feather to your crown. Rather, it will demean you. You will not get good marriage proposals, etc. But then now I feel situation has changed. My relatives have actually, after all this, they have actually forced their children to go for law. I have seen my colleagues going, their kids going for law. So I don't think ऐसा कुछ भी है कि these days women are going for feminine profession. It's not like that. These days women want to get out of their comfort zone, and that is why they are choosing something. I know few women from my school itself who are going for mechanical engineering, which I think is a male dominant profession altogether.
Thank you, ma'am. So my next question is gender neutral or gender specific law a need for society?
Gender specific law is a need for society when we need to take care or protect women. But at the same time, whenever we talk about gender offenses, gender specific things, when we talk about gender justice, we always talk about women. We never talk about men. So this is one thing I always teach in the class also. Even IPC prescribes specific offenses that are only for women, which at the same time is happening to men also. Just because it is less in number doesn't mean it can be neglected. Right? For example, men can be raped as well, men can be harassed as well, men can be stalked as well. There could be voyeurism, disrobing, etc. happening to men also. But there is no resort to us. There are resort though under IT Act and other provisions, but which is a robust law, that is IPC, doesn't prescribe for anything. So I feel yes, there is a need for gender neutral laws when it comes to putting both the genders in one plate. But at the same time, I also feel that because women are considered to be someone who needs to be not exactly protected, so to say, that is a negative word. Rather, they need, for example, we have ladies coaches, women's coaches, we have special reservations for women. That is something I think is warranted these days. But at the same time, there is also a need for gender neutral laws.
Thank you, ma'am. So my next question is, it is said that when a girl is girl is educated, her whole family gets educated. What are your viewpoints on it?
Yeah, it is gently said that if a man is educated, you educate only an individual. If you educate a woman, you educate the entire family. I absolutely agree with this notion, because only if a woman is educated, she can actually make her future generation or her heirs understand that this is what education is. Because even today, when we understand it is a patriarchal society, but the entire house is being run by a woman. No matter what you say, she knows the finances, she knows how things functions, she knows starting from the kitchen to the bedroom to the homework of a child, she knows everything. I feel yes, if a girl would be educated, I would rather say if you educate women, you would educate the entire nation altogether.
Thank you, ma'am. So my next question is, why do you think there are less women in leadership positions?
Okay, first of all, I do agree there are less women in leadership positions. Let's take an example of GD Goenka itself. If we check out HODs and deans of our university, 90 for that matter, 98% of them are men. It doesn't matter if they are efficient. It doesn't matter if they are good enough. Most of them are men, right? We do have women as deans also, but that too so-called feminine professions, for UID, for humanities, for social sciences. But why not law? Why not engineering, right? Also, when was the last time we had a woman as a vice chancellor in the university? Out of all the 29 NLUs, there is only 2 NLU which have women as vice chancellors. So yes, I do agree with the notion that so if I'm talking about the education sector, I absolutely agree with the point that women are not considered to be somebody who can actually have the leadership position. Even though you could appoint worthless men, 1,000 worthless men, but I feel if you will consider women, at least one woman who could actually have the position, it will be worth it. So the reason behind is because, again, the mentality. So people who will be appointing, people who are behind this have this mentality that, oh, she's a woman, she would have a lot of responsibilities. Even when I was facing few interviews of some universities in and around the country, I have realized that they were asking me questions like, when are you planning to get married? When are you planning to have kids? What is your opinion on this, etc., etc. They were not asking me anything from law. Rather, their entire notion was, concentration was basically on what are your future plans. If we would hire you in Mumbai, will your husband will also come to Mumbai? Whether you're getting married anytime soon or not, whether you have a relationship or not. These are the questions that they actually ask you, and these are not the questions that my male counterparts were actually questioned on. So this is something I feel, the mentality is something I feel is the key part.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So how education of women can influence our society in socio-economic aspect?
The education of women plays an important role because, as is a famous saying, that if you educate a man, only one person gets educated. But if you educate a woman, you educate a generation. So, if a female is educated, she will ensure that her kids are educated, and her persons associated with her are also educated. They can be uplifted even if they are not educated. So naturally, if the female is, or if the woman is educated, she will create a very strong social impact in the society. And as far as economics is concerned, the persons who will be educated will become a part of the employment sector later on. Not only that, her husband alone will be going to the office. She can also work and earn for the family. And nowadays we see that women are playing an important role in the employment sector, and they are a very strong part of economics. So it is a deeply interconnected topic wherein a woman is educated and she plays a very critical role in the socio-economic sector of the country.
So sir, what is your perception on does unequal pay for equal work lead to reduction of number of women or females in attaining education?
Unequal pay for equal work will work as a demotivation for a woman to continue working in the system. It directly does not affect her education because post her education she enters into the employment. yes, you can say that it may affect the progeny associated with that woman, but per se directly on that woman, it will be tough to say, because less pay for equal work will work as a negative motivator or as a demotivator for her to continue to work. And moreover, it's not the only factor for which a woman will generally leave the job. What kind of social factors she is into will be largely involved into deciding whether she will quit the job or she will continue the job. Even for that matter, women will agree to work on a lesser pay, but as long as she has the atmosphere to continue to work, even in the field of journalism, the women are the biggest dropouts from the job. I'm just naming one. There are many of them, and I'm not saying by any stretch of imagination that women can retain less. But the point is that they agree to work even on a lesser pay, but what they require is an atmosphere where they can continue to work. But generally that is not available to, not given to the females, so that they cannot work, in the absence of which they cannot work. Whereas it works in the favor of male gender to continue to work even if the situation is adverse, because they can choose to neglect certain responsibilities which otherwise a female cannot.
Sir, is gender neutral or gender specified laws? What is the need of present time in India? Gender specified laws or gender neutral laws in aspect to women's equality?
See, there are sectors of life in which females are very strongly discriminated against with. It starts from their sex discrimination to their birth, to their growth, to their education, to their marriage, to their employment and life thereafter. So the discrimination is at multiple levels, and yes, in my understanding, there is a need for having a gender-specific set of laws, and gender-neutral laws will be achieved later on. But what is required is that the females are to be made confident enough for themselves that they need not be dependent upon entities just to survive, right? And they need to be given the sufficient freedom and atmosphere so that they can take care of themselves, right? So that's what is required in terms of social reinforcement. Yes, laws do play a major role, but if the society will not change its mindset, then it will be very tough for the laws alone to control anything. A law which doesn't have social acceptance doesn't seek through the fabric of the nation. It will be very tough to do anything great. See, we have enacted laws like Dowry Prohibition Act, but is the dowry over? We have talked about abolition of child marriages. Have the child marriages stopped? We are talking about PCPNDT, Pre-Conception, Prenatal Diagnostics Techniques Act, in order to ensure that there is no female feticide. But have you been able to stop it? No. Has the malnutrition with respect to female stopped? No. Has the early marriage stopped? No. So laws, you may have multiple laws. We have multiple laws. We have enforcement agencies also. So the making of laws alone will not survive the purpose, not suffice the purpose. What is required is that people should be sensitized about the same. And I'm not saying that females should be promoted or something like that. All that I'm saying is that they need to be treated at par, so that both can contribute. Times have changed, right? It's not possible, it's no more naturally possible also that male alone can continue to work and bring the bread and butter for the house and the other members to the house to sit. We need to ensure that the females are also a part of the economical system so that they can be confident and empower themselves. If you don't do that, eventually what will happen is society will break back to where it started from. So in order to ensure that laws become a reality, we have to ensure that a sufficient amount of mindset is changed, people are sensitized and science is spread the same. So that the society is careful. We should be careful about our women
perception about has there been any gradual decrease in the education of women, especially in the Muslim community?
See, any society, if it has to progress, has to accept new things, has to give away certain things. So if, as long as the hijab is not acting as a barrier for them to come to the educational institution, it's fine. That's absolutely fine. But if that is used as an instrument to keep them under control, to keep them under check, so that they cannot progress on all fronts, be it political, social, economic, emotional, financial, any fronts, it is used as an instrument to keep them under control or retained, then that's not appreciable, right? The problem is that the society starts judging you on the basis of how you dress instead of how you conduct. Okay? Yeah, dress is okay, it's significant that what you are wearing at one place. But the point is that it should not be made as an instrument in order to suppress or to reject in the society. For example, it's a practice in China that females are made to wear a shoe of a particular size only, so that their feet doesn't grow big. Because it's considered not so good in that society to have females with big feet. So it's like putting up different kinds of glass ceilings on the females so that they cannot progress. As long as such practices are done with this intention, they are not acceptable. But if it is matter of personal practice, which is not acting as a barrier, it is fine. Because it's not the dress which matters. It's what you learn from where you are going. And what you do with what you learn. So, as long as that is fine, as long as that index is correct, actions are also correct. So we are not focusing on so much on the dress alone, but it's wrong if people are considering that we will use this as an instrument in order to ensure that our gender alone is not able to step into the regular education setup, then that's the sad part of the story. It's about intellectual, it's not only sad, it's about it. But yes, perspective should be very clean and clear on this, that we should not see things on the basis of what you are hearing. It's not about what one is hearing, it's all about what one is doing with what you are hearing. I can wear a hijab or I can wear any dress, smoke or drink. You can see what I believe. As long as I'm right, I'm right. So I should focus on, as an individual, I should focus on the fact that I should not be restricted on the name of something else. If that is not done, it's all fair.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your question.
Thank you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Meja Balla, and today we are with Aditi ma'am. Ma'am, kindly introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Aditi Dey. I'm currently placed at the School of Law. However, I've been within the field of English literature and also taking some classes in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. I have done my higher education largely from Punjab University, Chandigarh.
So, ma'am, my first question to you is: are institutions and workplace ready for embracing diversity?
I think we are somewhere in the middle stage. It is a great time to be, as most of the educators are saying these days, that we are in a very transition state. So we are, I would not say we are totally there. Yes, we are, but we have started the process, I would say. Okay, so with especially in our institution where we see a lot of international students. So I would not, when you use the word diversity, I would not limit the word to only the the other gender or to women. I would say that why not include people of other races and other ethnicities and other religious backgrounds and social backgrounds. So I think that yes, we have started the process definitely, and looking at how things are going, I think that we are creating a very good culture, both in terms of students and in terms of work culture, that where we are ready to embrace challenges, we are ready to embrace new people. But yes, of course, we have to be aware of stereotypes, stereotyping any community, any religion, any particular gender, whether we talk about women or whether we talk about the third gender. So yes, we have to be definitely give a good go to our foundation, our mindsets, and only including things in the way of policy would not really help here. We have to policy would make the rule for us, but what about ground realities or what practical realities? And what about the other people, the people on the other end? So our mindsets have to change, our education has to be complete, and only then I think this whole process will be really enjoyable and much more fruitful.
Thank you. So my next question is, do you think women are at par with men when we talk about leadership positions?
No. I myself notice this among senior management in all leadership positions, whether we talk about higher education institutions or we talk about corporate leaderships, women are missing definitely. Largely, I think the problems pertaining to support for women when it comes to leadership positions. Also, it so happens that women who want to excel in their careers are largely, they're labeled as ambitious. Oh, she's very ambitious. She's an achiever. So why is it bad for a woman to be ambitious, or why is it always why the word ambitious has a negative connotation when it comes to women? Women can be as ambitious as men are, but there are some challenges, some practical everyday life challenges like childcare. That is a big problem, especially we saw during COVID, during the lockdown, childcare, and a lot of women had to leave their work because they could not have anybody taking care of their children. We also have a big problem that there are no positive role models when it comes to everyday workplace, functioning. So I, as a working parent or as a working mother, I must have some positive role models in front of me, where a woman is not saying that, oh, I'm balancing everything so nicely, but she should rather tell me how is she doing that, so that maybe I can take some tips and I can also inculcate that in my lifestyle to make my day-to-day functioning more better. I think for making women reach leadership positions, other women can really help this. I mean, women who are at leadership positions, they should foster such women. They should have more women in their team, and they should also try to balance that. Women should be given some flexible hours to work. More women should be supporting them, and because they are women, they should also be aware that as women they also have their challenges regarding household work, regarding childcare. Okay, so all these things are definitely there, and we also need to understand that we must not imitate men when we are at a workplace. We cannot work like them. We have a different day, a whole different day to follow. Okay, so we must not behave like men when we are at work. We are women, we have different challenges, we are a different set of people, and we should create our own models to be leaders at work. Okay, and we need more positive role models for that.
Thank you. So my next question is, as a woman, what do you think, why we are lagging behind in providing equal opportunity for women in education sector, and how can we address them?
Particularly in education sector, I think that we need more flexible hours in terms of teaching and learning. I think maybe if for female teachers at work, we can have some flexible working hours where if childcare is available, wherever childcare is available, she is free to work. Okay, and then things like providing positive support during some problematic times of a woman's career. Permitting a woman to take up her career after a break. Maybe there is a break and a woman took break for whatever XYZ emergencies related to childcare, elderly care, parent care. Okay, so we must be because we know that women have to at times sacrifice their careers during those times. So permitting, because household work is unpaid. That is why when a woman is working at home, she's not working in the true sense, because that labor is unpaid. It's not paid for. So that is when we say that she's not working. But all housewives also are working all the time, just that they're not paid for that. So it's not that if a woman is taking break from an office career, she's not sitting at home doing nothing. So we must be giving some leverage to that kind of work experience. Of course, giving women more opportunities to be on leadership positions. Some stereotypes also need to be broken here. For example, that women should be all the time leading cultural programs. Okay, they can do, but maybe there are some men, they're not being given opportunity because. So, such kind of stereotypes and biases should be looked at, that women are also. Some experimentation is done by management also, where new people are let in, they are provided an opportunity, and trying to change the system, trying some experimentation, bringing in some variety of roles. So I think yes, women are lagging behind in higher education as well. We see far less women professors, we see far less women vice chancellors. So and we need more positive role models. We need more circulation of such information that yes, there are women vice chancellors, they are also leading universities, okay, and they are also women professors. If you see in a board of management, how many female professors will be there? Very few again. And then if such women are on these positions, they need to be very vocal about their experiences as a career person and as a homemaker. So I definitely see very regularly. I do follow some vice chancellors on my LinkedIn pages, and they post very frequently, and while some are only posting only careers and certificates and events, there are some women who are posting all sorts of experiences, whether household experiences or whether official experiences. So I really admire that kind of these posts, because they are all the time inspiring you, giving you practical insights into how to deal with various things into your day-to-day life. So yes, in higher education, women are really not coming up to the leadership roles because of many issues that I have already spoken about, and we need more women on there.
Thank you so much.
So what do you think, or what is your perception on how education of women can influence our society in socio-economic aspect?
It is very important. Now every field or everywhere this women education is in light. So people are thinking that if we can educate the women, because women are also being the mom. So the first class or the first teacher is being considered of a child is being considered as a mother or mom. So if the women can be educated, then in that situations, what may happen, that all the child or all the children which are taking birth, they can take the first and the primary educations from the mother, which is usually a woman. So that is very important, that they can change the socio-economic conditions or the socio-economic development of the society also. Like as I am the faculty of corporate law, so there is a concept of women director. So that is also very important from economic perspective of the society.
Okay, sir. So as you spoke about women being mother and family, with this point I go to our next question, which is, our patriarchal society have given women a lot of freedom regarding to education, but still there is a lot of inequality and biasness regarding the women's education. So what is your perception? Why does it exist still, the biasness and the inequality?
So that is the mentality or mindset of the society of the people. Like we are always talking about women empowerment. There are a lot of reservations which is being given to the women for the equal representations. You take the example of in politics. You take the example of in competitive exams. The women are being given reservations just to have their equal, what you can say, that the representations. So, but this is totally the mindset, or what you can say that the biological, the order of that particular women is also playing a role, that they are thinking that this particular area should not be good for women. This particular, what you can say, that the sector should not be good for the women, as there is a general tendency in the society like that women are not very much, if we talk about education, so women are not very, or the girls are not very comfortable for the math subject. So you will find very less girls or the women in the field of engineering. So that is also one of the reasons that we can say, but it is really like the gray area, or what you can say, the harsh reality of the society, that even after all these attempts, even after all freedom which is being given to the women, they are not giving equal, what you can say, representations or the opportunity in the society.
So my next, so what do you think, before achieving any target set by the government, or as we know the SDG goal 5, that is education for women, is there any need to achieve gender equality in the nation? Is there any need to achieve the gender equality? Yes.
As such, there is not specific requirement with respect to have this gender equality, because partially we have gender equality at so many places at national level. As I said, you take the example of, like you have talked about this sustainable development goals, that is at international level. So our country is also adopting that SDG goals in the form of, like if we talk about education, so there is a new education policy has come in the form of NEP 2020, that National Education Policy 2020, where the more focus is being given on women. So like it is industry, like it is any sector that is being given. So as such, not that particular gender equality, or what you can say that the gender neutrality is required, because we have, like in India, we have plethora of laws, we have plethora of policies, but the main problem is the implementations. The main problem is the mindset. The main problem is that we have all these laws, but we are not able to implement, we are not able to adopt those laws. So if there will be any specific law with respect to that, maybe that may change, but totally not will be effective unless we change the mindset of the people.
Okay, sir. So as you spoke about laws in our nation, I want to ask one question. What do you think in India, the laws which are there, or the laws which are yet to come, and like the bills are pending, or whatever the laws are yet to come in the loop line, what do you think gender specific laws are more effective in terms of gender equality, or gender biased laws?
Yeah, that is totally agreed. So gender, what we can say that the gender neutral laws are very important. So it will be giving like more freedom to the women's also, and they will also have more independence and, what you can say, more relaxation in the form of all these policies and all these laws. So definitely it is going to help in comparison to the gender biased laws. So like we have now, if you see that if we talk about law, so the recent debate which is going on in Supreme Court in the form of, that is constitutional bench in the same-sex marriage. So that is also one of the area which is also very debated, but the central government or the state governments, they are not in a mood to say that this is allowed, but that particular thing is also the need of the time. The society is dynamic, society is not static. So in that form, the mentality of the people would also be changing if such type of gender neutral laws may come in future or may be implemented in our society.
Okay, sir. So my next question to you is, does unequal pay for equal work leads to a reduction of number in women of attaining the education, women or female attaining education?
Definitely, definitely. What is the thing is that if there is anything which is being done, so that should be properly rewarded. So, like we know that the women representation or women participation in our society is less. So, government or the policy makers should come that they should be provided some extra incentive. So they should feel motivated and they should come forward and take more participation in such type of things. That is why this reservation is being given. Take the example of politics, take the example of in competitive exam, take the example of in any other places. You can see that they are now being promoted, that they should feel safe, they should be provided all these facilities, so they should come in what you can say in main line, and they can feel that yes, we are being rewarded properly. So if there is unequal pay for the equal work, definitely that is going to harm their mentality. That is also going to them demotivate. So in that situation, it should not be done. There should be a harsh law that, like we have law, labor law code we have, which is talking about equal pay for equal wages. So in that situations, if there is any inequality, then the law should be taking its course. Law should take its action.
Okay. So my last question to you is, after the hijab incident, which occurred recently, it has been seen a gradual decrease in the women's education. So, especially in the community of Muslims, it has been seen a gradual decrease. So, what is your take on this particular question?
I like to have something that on which ground you are saying that there is a gradual decrease, because recently, just last week, I saw that the particular girl who has filed the case with respect to hijab ban, she has stopped this Karnataka board education. So that is not the main picture or the main scene of the picture. That is the totally different things. But the way how the media today's time is very of the media is being considered as a fourth pillar, which information comes to you, you also have to check the authenticity. So whether the news is genuine or it is being made sensation, so that you have to do proper research whether that particular actual decrease is there or not, because it is not going to harm ultimate education, because learning is everywhere. So not the dress code or not the any such kind of things can stop to anyone. Like you take the example of girls or women, so this hijab ban is not going to affect anything with respect to the participation of this Muslim communities with respect to the education and their promotions.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kusal Bajpayee, and today we have Dr. Sahin Khan, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Shaheen from Department of Economics. I'm currently working as Assistant Professor in School of Humanities, Social Science and Education, J.D. Goenka University.
Ma'am, our first question is, why do you think there are less women in leadership position in education?
So traditionally, the role of women has been seen in the field of household management, or let's say in the farming, but eventually with the progress of the society, I don't think there is less women in the leadership, especially in education. I can see that education is the only sector where we can see more and more leader. So I personally don't believe that there is less role of women or there is less women in education. I think there are enough women in the field of education as a leader.
Our next question is, have you came across any incident where working women in your locality facing any displeasing issues?
Displeasing issues as in harassment and all?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I have never come across such issue. I heard about all these incidents, but personally I have never come across such issues.
Next question, what is the impact of COVID-19 on education, especially for women in India?
I think COVID-19 has completely transformed the picture of education, not just in India but throughout the world. Now you can see that you can attend the classes online, right? And you don't need to come to the campus. So for female it's a combination of both the things. I think it has enhanced their productivity somewhat, because now you can sit in the home and you can work. But I think when it comes to the quality, it has decreased that quality. So if you are asking me from the perception of getting education, I don't personally support the entire system of online education, because I feel that this decreases the quality of education. And as a professional, if you are asking me as a female, then too I don't support this concept of online education. But I think the situation was, it was the demand of our during the COVID-19 that you cannot come to the university and campus, so of course you have to go with the online curriculum, online education system. But I personally don't support this online education system. I mean, from my opinion, it decreases the quality of education.
Our next question is: are institutional or workplace ready for embracing diversity?
Yes, we are in the 21st century and we are completely ready to embrace the diversity. But I think this also depends from leader to leader. So what is the perception of the leader of that university, or what is the idea, belief, morals and ethics of the leader of your university. So it completely depends on that. And I think there are certain changes which are not good for the university, so we should not blindly adapt all the changes. We need to first emphasize on this thing, that what type of changes you are talking about. Suppose if I am talking about some sort of change which is not good for the student, for the faculty, for the entire education system, then I don't think we have to inculcate those changes. So it depends what type of changes you are talking about. So yes, we are ready for the changes, but blindly following all the changes, that's not something which I support.
Our last question is: why do you think women as lecturer or as a student is less in engineering institution, or is there is change in mindset of the people?
Yes, so I think earlier there were less women in engineering and medical, all these sectors, but nowadays I can see women from biotechnology to the scientists to the aerospace engineering, each and everything. So traditionally the role of women was very limited in engineering sectors. They are more into the fine arts, liberal arts and all these aspects. But nowadays things is changing and you can see women in each and every sector.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, today we have Dr. Tina with us. Hi ma'am, we are here for the interview of political science, feminism. The topic for today's interview is women in education. Ma'am, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dr. Tina and I'm teaching in School of Law, GD Goenka University. Basically, my specialization is environmental law, but yes, I can help you in your feminism and education.
So ma'am, our first question to you is early marriage a restraint on women's education?
If you want to know my perspective, I don't think so, because I got married in the age of 23 when I was in my post-graduation, and I have done my all education even after my marriage. So I don't think so marriage restrain you in any way, but yes, it's always depend on person to person, family to family. So we cannot say that marriage can restrain you for your higher education.
Absolutely. Ma'am, my next question to you is: do you face any kind of challenges as a woman while navigating your career?
No, I don't think so. I have ever faced any challenge during my career.
Ma'am, the other question is: does unequal pay for equal work leads to less women participation in field of education or going for further education?
Yeah, actually, unequal pay for equal work is always discriminate the people, and it will always hamper the work. But I don't think so. Is it or it is in higher education institutions or in our now in this scenario, because women is so empowered, and you can see we have so many female in the higher post, like we have so many deans who are female. So I don't think so. Now we have this kind of culture. We have particular less income for a female category. So it is, I think, always depend on your caliber. Doesn't matter you are male or female.
Absolutely. Ma'am, why do you think there are more number of teachers in school compared to the professors in universities or colleges? Like, what is your perception about it? Is it so or is it not? What are your views on it?
Actually, I don't think so. Okay, we have less female teachers or female faculties in educational institution. In my previous institution, we have more. They have more female faculty, and I think in this institution also we have more female faculty. Because female faculty, it's my it's my perception कि we can easily connect with the student. So now the ratio is high with the female faculty than male faculty in both in school education as well as in higher education.
Hello ma'am, today we are here for our political science assignment which is on women in education. Ma'am, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, myself Dr. Savita Yadav. I'm working as assistant professor in School of Law, and I'm having the 5 years of experience in teaching itself as a faculty.
Ma'am, my first question to you is what is your perception on early marriage? Can it be a restriction on women's education or not?
As per my perspective, as per my viewpoint, marriage is not a restriction on an education, because I'm also a woman and I'm also I'm also married and I'm studying further for my pursuing studies. So that's no, according to me, there's no restrictions of marriage on the education. It depends on the culture in which you are living. If you are some rural areas still have some restrictions on the education, further education, because they have some mindset कि yes, what the woman needs to do for the education, what they will do the after education, because and that is just because of their mentality. But when we come to the outer world, when we come to the outside the rural area, as now there is no restriction on the education because of the marriage. But when we are married, we need to, if we are going for the further study, we need to manage the extra responsibility, because we need to maintain our personal life as well as we need to do some housework holds, and that's why we get some little lesser time to the education or to focus on our study. But we can't say that there's a restriction on the education. If you are free to work, if you are free to do the things, and if you are able to manage the your household's responsibilities, you can go for the education. That's not restrictions.
My next question to you is, do you think the women in the education or in the teaching field who are there in school, but compare the woman is less compared to the schools and the universities, like the teachers in school and the professors in universities, do you think there are more number of teachers in school as compared to the professors in universities or colleges?
As per my thinking, that I didn't find any difference between the faculties in the university and the teachers in the school. But school perspective, the schools are having the female teacher just for a one reason, because in the school we are having the kids which having the mentality of kids, they are just children's. So a female is having the power to guide the children in a more way, because she is guide the children like a mother. When we say yes, your kid is spoiled, the kid is spoiled by the mother, kid is made by the mother. That's why schools are preferring female more, because they know yes, the females know how to tackle the kids, how to guide the kids in the correct way, how to learn them the manners. That's why the schools are having more female as compared to. But for my perspective, I didn't find any difference between the both university. The female for universities also having the female version in the same ratio.
Okay, ma'am, my next question to you is, do you think women are at par with men in terms of leadership positions?
Yes, women are, as per my perspective, the women are also having leadership qualities. But they, as I already said, the women are having other responsibilities also. I have discussed in my first question. Yes, women are having the more responsibility. That's why they are not able to properly give all time as a leader to some program. So that may be a restriction, or that may be a constraint that women are not properly able to guide, do the leadership. But when we can see that there are many leaders, women also there, they are doing their job. now we are also learning day by day cares how to manage the things. So that's my answer.
Okay. Ma'am, my last question to you is, does unequal pay for equal work affect the women's or the girls or the females in the education sector? Does that thing affect the ratio of women participating in education or enrolling for the education?
Yes, that was right. If we are working the same, we are giving our same efforts, even the higher efforts as compared to the male. That are affecting the women's careers, why we are getting the lesser pay as compared to the men. And it is same as for if a man is getting the unequal pay, he will also affect, he will also affect why they think, yes, I'm not able to get the pay according to the all others. If we compare two men also, and for example I'm a man and he's another man, and you are getting different pay, I'm getting a different pay, so it will just create a drift between us also. So when it's come to the female, the yes, unequal pay demotivates the woman, and that's why there's a high turnover ratio. If I'm come to the HR policies, I'm from the HR background, if there is no equity pay ratio in the pay structure, the compensation management, it automatically demotivates the employees. It may be men or women both, and it also increases the turnover ratio of the organization, which like your employee will not able to get the job satisfaction, he will not satisfy the work, he cannot perform all over attention on the job because sometimes he will be having in mind, yes, I'm not getting the pay according to others, I'm not getting the pay equal to the others, so it will affect in his work efficiency. So unequal pay not only in the female, it is for the men's care, they are decreasing the efficiency of the employee.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot for your time.
Women's education has been the blazing subject matter which attracts world leaders for an insightful discussion all over the globe. People often are careless when it comes to educating a female. The stereotypical mind of the people thinks that educating a girl child will in turn affect her way of living and make her way work, which is just the opposite of the proposed ideology. Educating gives them a chance, the wings, and the hope to look for a better tomorrow. The survey contains interviews of various female and male lecturers in education sector. Most of our respondents firmly felt that the married women have more responsibilities than unmarried women, but they are comfortable because they have a supportive family. But they are having concerns such as transportation and suitable working works for them. Most of the respondents, married or unmarried, included felt that in general, the wages and promotion system is a big cause for women turnout ratio in jobs. We truly hope that our survey will help other students and people to give them an insight on life of working women, the difficulties they face, and to generate awareness on why education is the key for the success of the country. Thank you.